I have seen video after video of people discussing how they find Diablo 4 boring, unfun, or just flat out unfinished. In fact, it's not just content creators that are doing this, as it seems the general consensus is that Diablo 4 just needed more time in the oven. Just take a look at the user review score on Metacritic of 2.2. Now I could go on and make another video discussing how the game needs more endgame content, or how resistances are still broken, or how the battle pass doesn't even give you enough platinum to buy anything in the in-game shop. However, instead of doing that, I wanted to make a video showing off what I consider to be an extremely underrated hidden gem in the action RPG genre, and that is Grim Dawn. While fans of ARPGs most likely have at least heard of Grim Dawn, I'm sure with the vast success of Diablo 4, there are a lot of newcomers to this glorious type of game that may be looking for something else to play while we wait for Blizzard to fix some of the issues plaguing Sanctuary. Now, Grim Dawn is a game loaded with content, with 9 base classes, each with their own skills and abilities. However, if 9 classes is not enough to get you interested, then you will be happy to hear that each one of your characters actually gets to mix and match these classes. So you pick your base class and subclass, basically combining 2 classes to unlock an additional class. For example, if you select Soldier and Necromancer, you become a Death Knight. Or if you're a Demolish and Occultist, you become a Pyromancer. The build variety and theory crafting in this game seems endless. Plus, on top of the different classes in the game, you also unlock the Constellation ability skill tree, which allows you to customize your character even further. In fact, if you take a quick glance at online builds, for example, of different Warlord builds, you will see that Grim Tools has listed over 79 builds for Warlord alone. Now you may be thinking there's 79 builds, but they all most likely play the same. However, on this webpage is links to YouTube videos showing off the gameplay of the different builds, and as you can see, some of them play vastly different from one another. Now for Diablo 4, when I looked up game builds, I actually checked 2 different websites. I looked at wowhead.com and Icy Veins, and as you can see, there's not many options for the barbarian and his build type. In fact, many of these builds actually use more than one shout, if not all 3 different types of shouts, so you're really limited on the customization options in Diablo 4. Now you may be thinking, okay, that's just a barbarian class, he doesn't have a lot of options. However, if you look up builds for Diablo 2 Resurrected, you'll see Diablo 2 actually has more build options that are viable for the barbarian compared to the barbarian in Diablo 4. When a game that came out over 20 years ago from the same company has more build options for the same class, something went terribly wrong. Now maybe theory crafting and options in build is not your cup of tea, so let's move on from that and discuss the actual gameplay content Grim Dawn and Diablo 4 have to offer. In Grim Dawn, you have a vast amount of stuff to do in-game. After completing Act 1, you unlock the Forsaken Gods campaign, so you have your choice to either continue the original base game campaign or move over and do the Forsaken Gods campaign. Not only this, but you can actually ditch the campaigns altogether and instead do the Crucible content. This is basically a survival mode where you fight waves of monsters, with each wave increasing in difficulty. And after each attempt, you unlock the treasure room to collect loot and goodies, thus allowing you to gear your character in this mode. Now what's extremely cool is you could actually hot swap your character between these 2 modes. You could level up in the campaign, build your build, and test how strong it is to see how far you get in the Crucible, or you could power level yourself via Crucible mode and then hop into the game's story mode. And if that's not enough to keep you happy, there's also the Shattered Realm. This is an endless dungeon mode, and after beating so many levels in the dungeon, you encounter a boss battle. Once defeating the boss, you will have the option to collect your reward or to continue deeper into the Shattered Realm for increased challenges but even better rewards. Now let's take a look at Diablo 4. You have the main campaign, which I will admit I thought was very good. You also have a ton of side quests. However, a majority of these side quests feel mainly like fetch quests or just bare bones MMO type of content, killing a set amount of enemies or collecting something to turn in. Honestly, most of them are just overall boring. The game also has dungeons and nightmare dungeons, and this could be fun, but they're all objective based, and the objectives are not fun. You enter a cave and have to find 2 stone blocks to unlock the door to fight the boss. Or you enter a cave and have to kill every single enemy in the area. It basically feels like they took the Den of Evil from Diablo 2, put it on repeat, and made that their nightmare dungeon system in Diablo 3. Plus, it's not just build variety and content that Grim Dawn dominates Diablo 4. Grim Dawn also adds so many quality of life features. In Grim Dawn, you could have so many quests active at once, listed on the side of the screen. In Diablo 4, you could literally only have 1 quest selected at a time. Grim Dawn has a built-in loot filter. Diablo has nothing. In Grim Dawn, if you hover over an item that dropped on the floor, you can see the stats of the item, and it even compared it to what you have currently equipped. In Diablo 4, no such luck. So one thing I want to address is that I know there's going to be people that say it's not fair to compare a game released in 2016 that's had multiple expansions to a newly released game and expect the newly released game to have the same amount of content to an older title. However, my counterpoint to this argument is that Grim Dawn started as a Kickstarter game with a small budget made by an independent studio, and through pure passion and dedication, they've built it into something truly epic. Diablo 4 is from a massive publisher with a much larger budget and years upon years of development time. The fact that during post-release is when they have to fix simple basic features such as resistances, endgame experience, and even monster density shows that they've really missed the mark on the title. Plus, with all the games on the market like Grim Dawn, Last Epoch, and Path of Exile, Blizzard had plenty of examples to look at to determine what works and what doesn't. Yet it feels like they ignored all of this and developed their game in a vacuum. But I would love to hear what you all think. Let me know your overall thoughts on Grim Dawn or Diablo 4 in the comments down below. Also, if you made it this far and did enjoy the video, let me know by dropping a like. And if you are new, please consider subscribing. As for me, I got a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to the grind, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.